Jackson Systems is your controls expert in the HVAC industry. With our top-notch technical support and customer service, we make life easier for you, the HVAC contractor. We offer free trainings on any products sold here at Jackson Systems, along with our filter fetch program, free thermostat imprinting, home and business automation with connected sensors, cameras, and even smart stats from Nest, Ecobee, Honeywell, White Rogers, Google, and more. Visit us at jacksonsystems.com to see the products that continue to win industry acclaim among contractors worldwide. Jackson Systems, controls done right.
Welcome to another episode of Israelhvac Podcast with me, John Israel. Don't forget, you can download the podcast on Android using Podcast Addict. If you use Apple products, use the podcast app. All right, everybody, welcome to the Israelhvac Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to talk to a guy named Tyler Davidson. He is a tech, but he is fresh out of trade school. We had a really good interview. Unfortunately, the interview got cut short. Not that we didn't have time or anything. We completed the interview. But for some reason, my voice was messed up. We got about halfway through the interview. Maybe 3/4 of the way through it. And my voice, I don't know if it was my computer, if my microphone messed up or what, but you couldn't even understand what I was saying. So I had to cut the end of the interview off. So unfortunately, we did not get the whole interview in. I was not able to squeeze it in. But it still worked, and it should be fine. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Also, in this episode, I have brought Andrew Greaves back from a couple episodes ago. When Andrew was here last time, he wanted to talk about a Zoom lock job that he had did. Andrew works for Johnson Controls. He works on a lot of big stuff, a lot of VRFs and stuff like that. And they used the Zoom lock on a VRF job. And we just didn't have enough time in last week's podcast to squeeze it in. So, last time I had Andrew here, we just didn't have enough time to squeeze it in. So I brought him back this week for a short interview about the Zoom lock job that he did. Andrew seems to be a fan of the Zoom lock, and he discusses what he likes about it and what he doesn't like about it. So it was a great interview. But before we get into those interviews, we're gonna, of course, talk about things going on. So last week when I talked to you guys, we were still raining like crazy here in Louisiana. That is still the case, but it's not as bad. It is still raining, but the rain had pretty much, brought the work to a halt. Well, tomorrow or actually today, on the day that this releases, I am completing my third change out for the week and running a bunch of service calls. So the work has completely done, like a 180. I mean, it's unbelievable. Went from nothing but rain, and very little work to not as much rain and a lot of work. I mean, a lot of work. The rain is still here. It's still pretty steady. I actually got rained on today as I was completing the change out that I did today. Right after the vacuum had finished, I unhooked the vacuum pump and I released the charge and it started raining. So I had to let the rain slack off, and then it did, thank God. Got the gauges hooked up and started the system up. But other than that, everything went fine. And I think we're calling for some more rain for the rest of the week. So I don't know, but I do know that I have another change out to do tomorrow, and also a mini split install to do. So there's plenty of work to be done right now. Like I said, it went from hardly anything to a full schedule, which is good. I'm not complaining. Definitely need the work. That's for sure. And we got some exciting things coming up here on the Israel podcast. Next week, our guest is going to be Tom Jackson from Jackson Systems. Jackson Systems is the commercial that you heard here at the beginning of the podcast. They're a sponsor of the Israelhvac Podcast. So I'm very excited to have Tom on the show next week. Tom is going to come on. He's going to explain to us all about Jackson Systems. A lot of people don't know what Jackson Systems is. But after you listen to next week's podcast, you will know what Jackson Systems is and what it's all about and how it can help you. I think a lot of you are going to be impressed and are really going to enjoy what Tom has to say about Jackson Systems. And on the Cowboy podcast, for those of you that follow the Cowboys of HVAC, myself and Zach Ciota interviewed Justin Baldwin from Sporlin on last week's episode of Cowboys podcast, or actually the one that just came out this Monday. And he dropped a bombshell that he was going to give us a Zoom lock tool for the giveaway. So we are going to have a Zoom lock kit. The whole kit, the tool, the jaws, the deburr, everything that comes in the kit to give away to a lucky winner that follows the Cowboys of HVAC. Now, what do you have to do to be entered to win? Well, that's easy. Basically, you have to comment on the week, on the giveaway before the one that's taking place with the Zoom lock. I know that probably doesn't make sense, but it's the best way I can say it. But I tell you what, if you listen to this and you follow us on Facebook and all that, and or on the YouTube channel, just be ready. There'll be a live stream coming up. Myself and Zach are going to do a live stream and talk about this major giveaway and how you're entered to win and everything. That'll all be covered in a live stream. So just stay tuned for that. And, other than that, same old, plenty of work, and exciting stuff happening on the podcast. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for the support. Thanks for listening to this episode. And we're going to get right into the interview with Tyler Davidson. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man. How old are you?
I'm actually about to turn 23 on Friday.
Okay. And how long you been out of trade school?
I've been out of trade school 4 months. 4 months yesterday.
All right. And okay, so you already have a job.
Right.
Okay. Did your trade school help you with that?
Yeah, they kind of did. It just happened. It was just luck of the draw, really. Because going through trade school, everyone's like, shooting out resumes left and right, to back home or where they want to go. I was kind of doing the same thing, but I was researching, trying to figure out where would be a good place to work, like what's like
right.
the typical place to work at. And, yeah, there was this place that was hiring. I was like, yeah, kind of a small company. I like that. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in a small company so they can help me and just show me around the business and everything, bring me up the right way. And what do you know, the owner called me, and he had my field supervisor now call me, and we just hit it right off the bat. I mean, we clicked. By the end of the phone call, he was like, yeah, I really want you here. I definitely see potential in you. And it's stuff like that was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah. Well, that's great, man. So what is your role at the company?
So my role is a service technician. So just like a regular diagnosing, running preventive maintenances, just like a regular service tech.
Yeah, yeah. So, tell us a little bit about your trade school. About because our trade school here is horrible for HVAC anyway. They don't really go over a lot with you. We've had guys come out of our trade school here that don't even know what superheat and subcooling is. So, tell us, a little bit about what they focused on and, stuff like that.
Right. So they really focused on a little bit of everything. Now, even though the school was a little bit shorter than your typical trade school for HVAC,
Right.
I mean, but they tackled everything. I mean, they were really big on the EPA the first couple weeks. I actually have a buddy going through it right now, and I'm helping them out, letting them know, like, hey, make sure you pay attention to this or, this or that. But they really stressed on EPA for like the first 2 or 3 weeks, just so that you can get your EPA license certificate
Right.
and everything. And then, but while they're doing that, they're also they're showing you how to check capacitors. They're showing you how to throw on your gauges. They're going through the basics to make that foundation, right?
Right.
But then they go more advanced and they start going over superheat, subcooling, troubleshooting. They had all these nice labs. I mean, fabulous labs with anywhere from 8 to 10 units in there, all ranging at different years, different brands, different makes. I mean, you name it, it was there. They even had a condenser from, I think it was like 1964. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to. Their whole thing was to make like just an all-around great tech, someone that can talk to the customers, because that's a big thing nowadays.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of it. Right.
Talking to the customers and then being mechanically inclined to diagnose and fix, and then obviously run preventive maintenance. It was a great school for the up and coming. And then we had some guys there that were already in the trade, and it was more of like a refresher or trying to get your NAICS certification.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay. So y'all had live equipment to work on.
Yes, sir.
That's very good. So did they? And in California, y'all have a lot of gas furnaces, don't y'all?
Oh yes, sir.
Okay. Are they? Is it mostly 80% or 90 up?
You know what? I think I've only worked on 190 so far. The rest have been 80s.
Right. What about heat pumps? Are heat pumps strong over there?
Oh man, you know what? I tell you what, I got the NAICS certification for heat pump while I was in the school, and when I told my boss that, he's like, "Yeah, you're not going to need that here." And yeah, come to find out, yeah, I've probably worked on about 5 heat pumps in the past 4 months, and it's kind of like when I walk up on it, I'm like, "Oh no, it's a heat pump. Shoot, how's this working?
Yeah.
How's that reversing valve go again?" But yeah, they're very few and far in between out here.
Right.
But I will say they have stood up against regular straight cool units. I mean, just last week, I did a preventive maintenance on a heat pump. I forget what brand it was, but it was from 1982, and by God, the only thing it needed was 10 microfarad capacitor and a drain flush. That's all that baby needed.
Yeah, that's good, man. They don't make them like that anymore. That's for sure.
Oh no.
And see, in my market, heat pumps is mostly what we work on. We don't have a whole lot of gas here where I'm at.
Oh yeah, I could definitely tell from all your videos. It's just nothing but heat pumps. You and Zach.
Yeah, pretty much, man. So how long have you been following me and Zach and some of the other guys on YouTube?
Oh man, I've been following you. I think you were the first video I watched when I was going through school.
Right.
I watched all your stuff. I actually, whenever I watch your videos, I would ask my instructors, like, hey, is he doing this right? Like, is this the right way to do it? And they're like, yeah. And it's nothing against you, you know. It's just,
Right.
I was wanting to find that person on YouTube that I could follow and he's actually doing the right thing, not know, like, you know, some guy that just does it, you know, some chuck in the truck, you know.
Right. Yeah, because there's definitely a lot of chucks in the trucks, but they're not. You don't see them on YouTube. They're the group of guys that we have on YouTube are all pretty good guys.
Oh, by far, yes. I swear, as soon as I started watching your videos in school, as soon as I got the job here, I was nonstop watching your videos, Zach's videos. Oh man, Ralph's. I mean, all of you guys. Just like every day, every night, to the point where my girlfriend would slap the computer out of my hands.
Yeah.
Like you need to leave work at work. I'm like, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, you guys, just like what Greg Fox said in a couple podcasts ago, you guys were like role models. I mean, just talking to you right now is like amazing. It's like I'm starstruck.
Well, I appreciate that, man. But you know, it's weird too because you were actually in the chat for the giveaway, and I gave away that Zoomlock hat, and I got asked to autograph the hat.
I saw that,
and I thought the guy was messing with me. I said, "Are you serious, or do you really want me to autograph it?" And he wrote back in the chat. He's like, "No, dude, please, seriously, autograph the hat." So I don't know. It's weird. I've never autographed anything before.
I did see that. I was watching on my way home, and I heard that. I was like, "You really want me to sign this?" I was like, "Dude, is he giving away like signed gear? Like, I'll take it. I'll take a signed hat." Like, but no, like going back to your question, yeah, I've watched your videos, Zach's, Ralph's. Everything I do today, I try to mirror it off of what you guys do. Just because everything that you guys do it just seems like the right thing to do. And I also got my supervisor as well that
Right.
tells me everything I'm supposed to do. He's been a huge help in bringing me up and showing me the ins and outs of the business.
Right.
So I mean, I honestly, I can't say enough for both what you guys have done on YouTube for the community, and then also my boss as well. I mean, I think I got the road paved for me pretty nice.
Yeah. Oh, well, I know. I sure appreciate it, and I'm sure the rest of the guys that you mentioned appreciate it too. Matter of fact, I know they do. One guy I talked to when I first started taking the podcast in a new direction, I spoke to a guy named Cannon Casey that was out of trade school, and you're the first guy I've talked to that's pretty fresh out of trade school since then. And I was really shocked to find out that his trade school only did 1 day of airflow. Did they go over airflow really well in the program that you took?
From what I can remember, I mean, I will say they probably spent about a day's worth on it as well.
Wow.
Like a day's worth, and then just bits and pieces throughout the rest of the course. I do remember because they gave us like these little sheets to mimic a preventive maintenance check, like worksheet. And then on there, it shows where you can write in inches of water column, or
Right.
or yeah, like the pressure inside the ducts. And we always asked them, like, we never knew what that meant. So we asked them one day, like, what is this meant for? Like, oh yeah, that's your airflow. How do you check that? And since I'm the one that asked the question, my instructor gave me the little hooks. I always forget the name of them. The tubes that you stick inside the ducts.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to your manometer.
Yeah, manometer. Yeah.
Yeah. He showed me how to do that, taught me how to do it, and he's like, no, teach everyone else. So he sent in 3 kids at a time for me to teach. And that's what I just love doing. You know, I love teaching. And that made that like stuck in my mind where fast forward 3 months later, we have a client who is complaining about airflow. And I used what I learned for airflow and found that he was way below an inch of water column. Ended up being the duct was too small, or the return duct was too small. And
Right.
I mean, that helped out tremendously. So, I mean, just that little bit right there helped me out. But going back to your question, yeah, no, they probably spent like a day and a half on airflow.
Yeah, that's shocking. You know, you're the second trade school guy in a row that said that. Just can't believe that they're not taking more time to teach you guys about airflow, because airflow is a very, very, very important part of what we do.
Oh, yes, by far, yeah.
So, hopefully, you're getting some, some training from your employer on airflow.
Yeah, he's going over a little bit with me. Whenever we possibly can, you know, since we're such a smaller company.
Right.
Obviously, the time for training is very limited.
Meet Zoomlock, the 10-second flame-free refrigerant fitting from Parker. Reduce labor costs by 60% with no brazing, no flame, and no fire spotter. Discover how Zoomlock can help you be more efficient and productive. Visit Zoomlock.com for more information.
All right, guys, I got Andrew Greaves back here with me. I wanted to bring him back in because last time he was here, he wanted to tell us all about his experience with the Zoomlock. He works for John's Controls, but they did a big VRV job, I believe. He'll correct me if I'm wrong here in a minute. But Andrew seems to be a fan of the tool, and he's going to tell us about the job that they did and his experience with the Zoomlock. So, Andrew, how you doing?
John, I'm great. How about you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, no problem. And your term VRV is correct when you're referring to Daikin. So
Okay.
Daikin actually copyrighted that terminology, VRV, variable refrigerant volume.
Right.
And all the competitors now have to use VRF, variable refrigerant flow. So
Right, VRF. Yeah.
Same technology, just has to use a different term. But
I got you.
yeah, we about a year and a half ago, we had a big job in Louisville in a government building. It was used to be a Federal Reserve Bank. So we're
Right.
talking 2-foot concrete walls and ceilings to core drill through, and it was a big deal. And we were going to put a large VRF system. It was our equipment, and the customer mandated that we were not to do any torch work whatsoever
Right.
on the job. So, you know, that leaves us with few options, and I'm not sure when the tool actually debuted, but I don't think it was long before this. So none
Right.
of us really had heard of it. We didn't know what to expect, but the branch went ahead and got the tool. I don't think we were aware of the deal either with buying fittings, because I want to say we had $5,000 to $8,000 in fittings for that
Wow.
job, and then we still bought the tool. So we had probably close to $10K for the tool
Wow.
and fittings, and at the time, now, you know, that was built into the job, but
Right.
at the time we either weren't aware or the deal wasn't on the table yet. But from a time-saving standpoint, on a commercial setting like that, it was astronomical, the time savings on the job.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to bring you back in to talk about this is because, you follow myself and Zach. We're catching a lot of heat about this tool.
Sure.
From the Facebook groups to the YouTube channels, everything. I mean, we even have a guy calling it the the hack lock now.
Right.
And, we're catching a bunch of grief off of this tool. So it's nice to talk to other people that have used it. So, you said it was definitely a time saver. What size pipe were you guys working with?
Well, and the size pipe actually ties into probably the only negative experience I had with the tool. Just because I'm not just trying to promote the tool blindly. If there was issues, right, I'm fine at acknowledging them. But the suction line, a large portion of the job was 1 1/8, which at that point was the largest limit on the Zoomlock tool. It was the biggest jaw you could get. Right. I had a lot of issues crimping the 1 1/8 pipe, and for a long time, and when I say a hard time, we're talking maybe sometimes up to a dozen attempts before the tool would actually perform the crimp. And before that, it would just do like a partial, and then the jaw would let go. So for a long time after the job, I thought to myself, well, I'm assuming that it's a great tool, but the 1 1/8 had a hard time because it's the max that the tool can do. So we're pushing its limit too much. But
right
now that I'm hearing from Brent and some other people that they're coming out with, or they already have was it 1 3/8?
That's correct.
Well, if they haven't changed the tool, well, then that tells me that, well, the tool was more than able to handle that if they can just build a bigger head now. So it makes me think now, maybe I just had a faulty head. Maybe I had something wrong with the head itself, and the tool was fine. So
well, they actually see when y'all did it at first. It's when it first came out, but they actually haven't. They haven't the newer tools. I don't know how they say it.
I heard the term you guys used, and I had never heard that.
Yeah, there's a term for the power of the crimping jaws.
Is it something newtons?
Something like that. The original tool was 15, and the new ones are 19.
Okay.
So it's probably not an issue anymore.
Right. But and that was kind of what was going on. It's like it would just do this kind of half crimp, and then it would just let go, and
have to recrimp it again.
And that got a little frustrating. But beyond that, we also, VRF does a lot of transitioning and step down in the piping size. So we literally had every size from 1 1/8 down to quarter.
Right.
We're talking flawless execution for the entire rest of the job. Every other size was just seconds in and out. Once you prep your pipe, you're talking seconds to get that done. Now, for a lot of the guys that are naysaying it, I wonder how much they deal with 1,000-foot runs of pipe, 1 1/8, and when they're saying that they could braze just as fast, no, you can't. I don't care if you have a rosebud tip on your torch.
Right.
The time it took me to once I really got the prep down to a muscle memory, I was cruising. I mean, and I was going down long lengths of pipe that would have taken me, a half a day to properly braze. 1 1/8, you have to babysit it all the way around. You're not in and out in a second. So,
right. These guys, like you said, you start working with this large pipe, 1 1/8, 1 3/8. The zoom lock it's going to be a lot faster, especially when you're running, thousands of feet of pipe,
right,
like y'all were on that job.
Exactly.
So, that's really good.
Yeah.
Really, I'm glad, to hear it from somebody else that enjoyed the tool.
And Justin had mentioned on the Cowboys episode about not getting a free lunch, and he's right as far as the prep. You can't take shortcuts on it.
Right.
I was really good about it because I was so paranoid, not having ever heard of anything like this. So I was very skeptical as well. And so I was extra careful on the prep. And the one time that I did not remember to deburr or put that chamfered edge on the outside of the pipe.
Right.
I slid the pipe into the socket of the coupling, and then I remembered right away. I was like, oh, damn, I forgot to prep that. So I pulled it back out, and I took a look in the coupling, and it had cleanly severed that O-ring right in half.
Right.
And my heart dropped just thinking, man, thank God I pulled that out and checked, because
Right.
that would have been bad. But it would have been user error, not the tool.
Right.
And
right. Absolutely.
And that job was wrapped up when I got ready to commission and start up that equipment. The factory wants 600 pounds on that for a day, and it held perfectly. And that's a year and a half ago, and we've never had any service calls to that location.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear, because that's what we're looking for.
Right.
Is reviews from, obviously it's not going to be that long because the Zoom Lock tool's new, but you said you're at a year and a half and y'all haven't touched it. So that's great. Yep. That's what we're looking for here. Right. And I can understand that some of these guys are skeptical or afraid of the tool, but the way that they comment about it is just ridiculous. But it is a good tool. Yeah. I've enjoyed it.
I think when you descend into the name calling and all that, you lose any legitimate argument you may have had. Any chance you had for a decent debate, because there is some debate to be had. There's no reason everybody should just open their wallet up and say, we all have to buy this tool. There's definitely merit to having a discussion about it, but it has been getting pretty muddy down there in the comment sections.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. But the Zoom Lock's come a long way, because when it was first introduced, all they had was couplings. That's it.
Right.
Now they have couplings, they have 90s, they have reducing fittings.
Right.
And they're coming out with 45s.
Wow. Okay.
The 45s will be released, I think, in about a month, is what I've been told.
Right.
So they've definitely come a long way. And a lot of people think that we're trying to push and say, we're trying to eliminate the torch.
Right.
You're never going to completely eliminate the torch.
No.
It's not possible.
Right.
But you can definitely shave, cut your torch time in half.
Absolutely. Just imagine 20 years from now, if this is an industry standard, and when it is at a price point where anybody can grab one for just as a backup. Right now it's kind of priced where you need to use it a lot, but when it's been in the industry a long time, and just imagine having that in your van for, I don't know, you braze 90% of the time, and there's just one really hard to get to place. You throw your coupling on there and Zoom lock it in, and if you're a good service guy, that just shows that you're using your time management right, and risk management for damaging other components or causing other issues like that. I don't see that the hack side of that, or I don't see how that's losing jobs for anybody.
Yeah, I agree. It's and another argument is there's been a few people say, well, there it is. Homeowners will officially be able to install their own heat and air systems.
Right.
Well, it takes other skill besides the copper work. And what homeowner is going to go spend $3,000 on a tool?
Right. And fabricate a transition and do their piping.
Right. There's plenty of hate out there against the tool. Overall though, I know you said about the 1 1/8 got annoying, but overall your experience with the tool was good and you like it and you endorse it.
Oh, absolutely. I don't get to use it daily, like I said, but if I had the opportunity, I would. And if Justin's offer was extending to commercial work, I'd be pushing him pretty hard right now, because I got another big government job coming up that's going to be all Zoom locked as well. But like I said, our branch has one.
Okay. So you will.
But,
so you will get to use the Zoom lock again here before
we will be.
long.
Yeah, we have to. It's for the same customer, another government building in Louisville that is not going to be allowing any torch work in the building whatsoever. So.
Right.
Yep.
Well, that's great, man. I mean, and that's the great thing about Zoom lock is that, you know, what else would you do if Zoom lock wasn't out there? I know that they make, a few years ago, I saw some guys in the supply houses with this, it was like a red tube. It's kind of about the same size as a Nylog bottle. Are you familiar with Nylog?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I use Nylog every other day, every day, you know. Are you talking about the little welding gel in a tube?
Yeah, they said it's not glue. It's like a
copper.
Yeah, compounds.
Yeah, I've seen that before, or I've heard of it.
Yeah. So that would have been Johnson Controls' other option on that job.
Exactly.
Zoom lock.
Exactly.
But I think I'd rather take my chances.
Now
with
the only
Zoom
thing
lock.
we didn't do, the only torch work we had was, and this is because, you know, the tool was new enough, but the idea of the whole cutting bells off thing was not going to happen on that job. We were not going to risk that. Well, it didn't even really cross our mind, but
so y'all had to brace
stubs. We fabricated those outside, and
there you go.
And they make special branch kits that when you've got your main run of copper, they make special kits that divert it to the left and right to hit your different cassettes in a room. And those kits come from the factory, and we were not going to Zoom lock to them as well. We just didn't know. We didn't know yet. We didn't know, could you Zoom lock to soft copper? Did it have to just be hard copper? We weren't sure. Now it turned out we did. We Zoom locked to soft copper off of those kits. We brazed a hard pipe stub out of those kits, and then Zoom locked off that to the soft copper that ran to the cassette. And it worked great.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So are you excited to use it again on this job you have coming up?
Yeah. It's going to make the job is so big. I'd be dreading it. Like I said, I'm 90% service anyway. I'm a service guy, and but I'm 100% involved with any VRF work that we have, because I'm kind of like our VRF guy for the branch. So when it ends up being an install, I'm going to be a part of it, and it's not what I prefer spending my time doing. So if I have something like that to help the job stay on pace and reduce risks, then I'm fine doing that.
That's great. Well, hopefully you can maybe get us a couple video clips of that and post them on Facebook or something.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's the plan right now. It's going to be a second shift job once that starts. So I'll have the whole building to myself.
Yeah.
To video.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man. That's you got a YouTube channel, and that's a great video, man. To really get some publicity on your
I agree.
YouTube channel.
The more people can see it being done, the more people can come to an educated decision. Because maybe they still don't like it, and that's fine. But at least they gave it a shot and watched it before they just judged it.
Yeah. Yeah, man, definitely. I mean, if you can do a video, you should definitely do one and post it. You could, and I would post it on your YouTube channel, because the way things are going right now, if you title anything on YouTube Zoom lock in the HVAC community, it's getting tons of views.
Big hot button issue right now. You know what? While I'm here, the only other negative that I'll point out, and again, it's just because I'm shooting straight with you about how I feel about the tool, and I really like it a lot. But the only other thing that may bother some people, and I don't think you'll experience this in residential work, but where you've got very, very long runs of copper, say 50, 70 feet, and you've got them on hangers. The only thing that frustrated me about the tool, besides the 1.1/8 jaw at that time, was you're not going to have it's hard to keep it a straight run as you're running that copper. When that tool crimps, no matter how well you fitted up your pipe and have it clamped, the tool does slightly twist the copper to a certain direction. So if you're trying to keep it real pretty, if you've got it exposed, or you're just a OCD on how it looks, very long runs of copper were pulled slightly out of kilter, and that's just because of the crimping action. Once you're doing 50 to 100 feet, it's gonna bend it on you a little bit.
You got like a sag too. I can definitely see that. But like I said, not everything about it is perfect. There's going to be some cons to it.
Right. But So those are my honest experiences, the good and the bad, and but I think the good far outweighed any negatives that I found with the tool.
Yeah, I mean, so far definitely the pros have outweighed the cons for me so far. Right. All right, Andrew. Well, look, man. Before I let you go, I want to give. I want everybody to. Andrew has created a group on Facebook, HVAC vehicle layouts.
That's right.
I mean, I think the group is what, 2 weeks old?
No, it's 8 days, 9 days old. So not even 2 weeks. It's like a week.
So it's about a week and a half old, and he's already got over 1,200 members in the group. It's a great group. Guys post videos of videos and pictures of the way their vans or trucks are laid out.
Yeah.
So check out that group, HVAC vehicle layouts.
Yeah, a lot of great ideas on there.
Yeah, there is. I've enjoyed the group. It's been great. All right, Andrew. Thank you again, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come join me again and talk about this.
Hey, appreciate you having me, John.
Sporlan, creating products that provide solutions so that your air conditioning and refrigeration needs are not only met, but exceeded. Offer the highest quality products, innovative solutions, and unparalleled support in the market.